Good day, Ms. Gianna Quinones. I'm Original Pimental Avarca, a grade 11 Salesforce student at Golden Faith Academy. Thank you for joining this interview. This study is about how educational deficiency affect teenagers' psychological behavior and risky behaviors. Your answer are voluntary and confidential. There are no right or wrong answer, just your honest thoughts. Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
So let's start. Number one, do you think your educational struggles have influenced you to take risks or try things you wouldn't normally do? If so, can you share some examples?
I think yes. Sometimes when I struggle, I take risks like trying new study habits, like staying up all night just to study or doing things last minute just to pass my CLAs.
Taking risk with new studies habit show your willingness to try and improve. Number two, how does your academic performance affect your behavior as a student? How do you handle it?
When my grades are low, I feel sad and lose focus. Sometimes I even lose motivation in studying, but I handle it by studying harder and asking for help from my friends.
It's good that you stay motivated and ask friends for help when grades are low. Next question. What are your ways to cope with stress because of educational challenges?
My ways to cope are by listening to music, resting, or talking to someone I trust. I also cope by making a prayer journal or making a diary. There are also times that I just leave it all out.
Wow. Resting, music, and journaling are healthy ways to cope with the stress. Now let's proceed to question number four. What is your main advice to those people who are also experiencing the same situation that you're currently facing?
My advice is don't give up. Believe that you can improve. There's a lot of struggles in life, but that doesn't mean that it's the end of your world. There's a lot of people who can help you. Just reach out. Keep trying, it will be worth it. God has plans for you.
Your advice is encouraging. Staying hopeful and seeking help is important. Now let's proceed to question number five. What long-term effect might risky behavior have on the lives of teenagers who lack proper education?
For me, I think it can negatively affect their future lives. They might have a harder time finding jobs or making wrong choices that could affect them badly.
You're right. Lack of education can make the future harder and lead to poor choices. Let's proceed to question number six. What examples of risky behaviors do you observe among teenagers who have experienced educational deficiency?
From what I observe, teenagers often skip school, smoke, vape, drink, or join friend groups that have a very bad influence on them. Some of them want to find comfort in unsafe things because they feel like there's no other option to feel better.
It's true that some teens turn to risky behaviors when they are lack of guidance or support. Thank you very much, Miss Gianna Quinones, for sharing your thoughts and experience. Your input is very hopeful and helpful for our study. We appreciate your time and the honesty.
Good day, I am Abarca. I'm Monique Trinidad from Grade 11 Salesforce at EFA. Thank you for joining this interview. This study is about how educational deficiency affects teenagers' psychological behavior and risky behaviors. I can assure you that your answers are voluntary and confidential. There are no right or wrong answers. Your honest thoughts. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, so first question. How would you describe your experience with school or learning so far?
School's okay most of the time, but there are days when I feel really unmotivated to attend. Sometimes I skip classes because it feels like no one really cares about how I'm going or what I'm going through. It's hard to stay focused when I don't feel supported or understood.
I see. Have you ever felt stressed, sad, or overwhelmed because of school struggles?
Yeah, all the time. There are moments when I feel like I'm falling and everything and gets in really heavy. It makes me overthink and sometimes even cry because I feel like no matter how hard I try, it's never enough. School pressure can really affect my emotions.
Do you think not having enough education has pushed you towards risky things like smoking, drinking, or skipping school?
Maybe, yeah. When I start failing or feel left behind in school, I tend to lose motivation and spend more time with friends who smoke or drink. It it's like I look for comfort or distractions from the stress. I know it's not good, but sometimes it feels like an escape from the pressure of school.
I'm curious, when school gets too hard or you can keep up, what do you do?
Honestly, when things get too difficult, I usually end doing nothing. I just give up and stop trying for a while because it feels like there's no point. Sometimes I even develop unhealthy habits like sleeping too much or no eating properly. It's like I shut down instead of dealing with it.
And for the final question, if you had better access to schools, tutors, or learning tools, do you think your mood or choices would change?
Yes, definitely. If I had more support like tutors or better learning tools, I think I'd be more motivated to stay in school. It would help me to understand lessons better and feel more confident. I'd probably avoid bad influences and focus more on improving myself and my future.
Thank you very much, Miss Ira, for sharing your thoughts and experiences. Your input is truly helpful for our study. I appreciate your time and honesty.
Okay, so here's our questions. Do you think your educational struggles have influenced you to take risks or try things you wouldn't normally do? If so, can you share some examples?
Yes, because sometimes when I struggle in school, I feel frustrated and lost my motivation. That's why it makes me don't want to study anymore.
Okay, next, how does your academic performance affect your behavior as a student, and how do you handle it?
Okay, when my grades are slow, it makes me feel sad and stressed, and I handle it by studying harder and reading more.
Okay, next, what are your ways to cope with stress because of your educational challenges?
I often listen to music, read books, watch K-dramas, or some educational videos.
Okay, so what is your main advice to those people who are also experiencing the same situation that you're currently facing?
Again,
What is your main advice to those people who are also experiencing the same situation you are currently facing?
don't give up. If you feel tired, just take a break and then go back and try harder.
Okay, what long-term effects might risky behaviors have on the lives of teenagers who lack proper education?
It can ruin their future because if they take like to take risky things or do some bad things that can affect their education, it can lead to lower grade and influence their future.
Okay, last question. What examples of risky behaviors do you observe among teenagers who have experienced educational deficiency?
Skipping classes, like I always see that, and also drinking alcohol with friends during gathering, then stress-giving process. And some of them are smoking. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Miss Angel. We really appreciate your answer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Moses Angelo Yotechar Cruz, a grade 11 student from GFA. And now, I am with Alicia Rain de Guzman, also a grade 11 student from GFA. So now, our topic is about a phenomenological study on the effects of educational deficiency on teenagers' psychological behavior and its relation to their risky behaviors. And now, I will start asking Alicia our research questions, starting in number 1. So, Ellie, do you think your educational struggles have influenced you to take risks or try things you wouldn't normally do? If so, can you share some examples?
Okay, so the educational struggle I mainly face is procrastination. I often have a hard time managing my time, which makes my schedule entirely disorganized due to the weight of stress I have on me. So there were times, since the deadline was so close, I just did whatever I could think of. However, I still put effort even in those times. So I think that is the only kind of risk I usually take in times of heavy struggles that I wouldn't normally do.
Okay. Thank you, Ali. Now let's go to question number 2. How does your academic performance affect your behavior as a student? How do you handle it?
Okay, so I could say that I am a student who performs well in class. I participate, I recite, which are all voluntary because I am willing to learn more. My academic performance affects my behavior as a student as it gives me more confidence, which often leads this often leads to me stepping out of my comfort zone and just go along with what is about to happen.
Okay. Thank you, Ali. Now question number 3. What are your ways to cope with stress because of your educational challenges?
Okay, so I usually just sleep since I think my academics mostly affect my sleeping patterns. But aside from that, I use my phone, talk to my friends, and find other ways to distract myself from the stress I am going through.
Okay, thank you. Now let's go to question number 4. What is your main advice to those people who are also experiencing the same situation that you are currently facing?
The only advice I can give to those people who are going through the same situation as I am is to prioritize yourself. Physically, mentally, emotionally, you need to take care of those. Get some rest because I think at the end of the day, your well-being is what truly matters. So, a proper rest comes with a better result. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Now, for question number 5, what long-term effects might risky behaviors have on the lives of teenagers who lack proper education?
Well, I think in the context of your study, I can say that some long-term effects of lack of proper education on the lives of teenagers is primarily mental health struggles. Or are primarily mental health struggles. Although it is something that can be treated or overcome, for me it stays as a long-term effect since it will be part of one's personal development as an individual.
Okay. Thank you. And now for our last question po. What examples of risky behaviors do you observe among teenagers who have experienced educational deficiency?
What I have observed among teenagers who experience educational deficiency is that they use illegal substances, if I can say that, such as drugs and tobacco, probably without knowing their effects. So from my point of view, I think they just see it as something cool to do because of peer influence maybe. However, I don't think I am in the right place to assume what that act means to them.
Okay. Thank you, Ali. Thank you for your time. God bless you po.